What's up, boys? It's Hippie with the Hookup Tackle. We are back out here yet, filming another video for you guys. Today, we're talking walking baits. We're going to show you our three-prong approach and our three must-have walking baits and where and how we fish them. Let's jump right into it. Let's have some fun.
Yeah, double or nothing, I'm all in. I don't hang with all the fake people you call friends. Me and my amigos go to move with caution. That's what you do when you got the power like Austin. Exhausting, saying the truth, but no one listen. Out to go and get it, let's form a coalition. Mega rev bound to blow, who's going with them? Wanna go fast or far, you choose the distance.
So the first area, kind of our starting point today, is gonna be a offshore, what you could call a point or an island, but if you can see, it's got a high spot on it. So there's probably a good 150 yards, 100 yards of 10 foot or less water where there's a high spot. So these fish will pull up on top and just kind of cruise around and use it as a feeding area and then slide off. So where a lot of guys will pick up something on the bottom, you can still get these fish to react and really show some aggression by throwing a topwater bait. What I like to fish, and start off with in this scenario is a walking bait. That's because of the sound and the draw power and the motion that these baits provide. With that being said, the lure of choice for us is a Teckel Kicknocker. Our good friend Hideki Maida, he has a specialized plastic that he uses, and what that does is give the bait a truly unique sound. So this bait has the ability to, I guess, maybe echo and just sound super loud when it's out there. And in our scenario, fishing deep water, there's a high spot, but all around us is deep water. So we want to be able to call those fish from a long ways away and get them to come see our bait. Another unique feature is the oversized ball bearing in the rear. That allows me to throw it a country mile and get it out there. So, I have plenty of room between me and the fish to, be able to come up and commit to that bait. Once I have it over my spot, I'm gonna give it just a simple walk the dog action, but a little bit faster than you would like if you're learning how to throw it. So if you haven't walked the dog, it's just a small rod twitches with your rod pointed down, just small twitches like this, and then small increments of the reel. Once you get comfy, just a little bit faster speed, and this is to cover water and find feeding fish. Say, I do get a blow up on this spot, and then I get another blow up on the other side, but I'm not having fish commit to it. So now I've found some fish. I could take the same bait that they're already interested in and kind of, finesse them a little bit and dumb it down for them. So I'll throw it back over the spot where I got those bites and just do a really slow walk the dog. But you can hear that bait's really, unique sound is working overtime because the slower I'm working that bait. Now that we've kind of explained everything else and you get to your spot and you're dialed in, we want to make sure you're throwing it on the right stuff. So for me, a topwater rod is a 7 foot to maybe a 7'3" medium heavy to heavy action rod that is parabolic and has some good backbone. So everyone probably has a favorite topwater rod in their arsenal that fits that spectrum. For us, it's a Megabass P5 Madbull. When it comes to a reel, high 7s to 8 gear ratios, because fast isn't your enemy here. If you want to fish it fast, you have the ability to speed it up. If you want to slow down, you can always slow yourself down. And if one eats it and runs to you, you can pick up that line. If I do hook a fish way out on the end of my cast and he's barely hooked and my rod is parabolic, once I turn my body and the rod loads and it has a deep load like this Megabass P5 Madbull does, I have the confidence to keep that rod tip down, and even if they have one hook, my rod will do the job and I'll be able to get those fish in the boat. So now we're on a shaded, more cliff face style bank, and this has a lot of little rocky points that shoot out underneath the water. There's some lay down submerged bushes, but there's a lot of it, right? So there's miles of this stuff, so we can run bank and make super long casts. I think of this place like as a highway with a lot of high percentage points. The bait use this, the game fish use these areas, and it's just a place where I can come cover water and eventually run into a fish and maybe a pattern. But there's still some of these shorter casts that we can make, and for that reason is why we're choosing this bait. So we've talked about our new area, now we're gonna talk about our new bait. Super cool one. So this is a Duo Realis Pencil 100. A couple really cool features about the Duo Realis Pencil 100 is this sphere right here on the chin. What that does is when it's walking, it really helps it push water out in front of it and, you know, kind of get that true walk. Another really cool feature is the weight transfer system itself helps act as a knocker, like a one knocker style sound. So it creates a really unique sound. And as well as if you pay attention to the hook hanger, instead of being directly in the rear of the bait, it's underneath the end of the bait. And what that helps it do is keel the bait a lot better. So 3 unique things that make this bait stand out and looks really sexy and gets bit. Oh, big one. We got a big one on that Duo Pencil 100. We're just talking about it. So sweet. There we go, right there. So awesome. We're just talking about this, man. The sun's starting to set. We went to that, you know, that faster bait that we could move around and cover water. And we got us a nice one. All right, before I got interrupted by that fish catch, I wanted to explain to you guys about, you know, the cadence with this bait. I'm just throwing this thing out in front of me and I'm just moving down the bank, right? I'm looking at targets. Oh, there's one right there. The neat thing about this area is if I do see a small target like this, I can just pick up and put that bait in there and do kind of those smaller, slower twitches we were doing with, you know, that last spot, and that bait will still sit kind of tail end. But I can also take this thing and kind of implicate that first motion that we showed you guys with that first bait and just kind of walk the dog traditionally. You can add a little bit more speed in there if you wanted to, but that's kind of how I'm fishing this one, kind of a 1-2 punch, and they're biting it around this spot, huh? Again, with gear, I'm keeping it the same for me. That way I can have the same setup on my deck and everything feels, you know, the same and comfortable for me. P5 Megabass Madbull, high speed gear ratio, Daiwa Steez A, 40-pound Daiwa J-Braid for me today. I just like straight braid and yeah, man, it's fun. All right, guys, if you look behind me, it looks a little bit different where we are now. So now we're going to talk about a different bait. And before we get into that, we're gonna explain why that bait is going to shine in this style of area. So we're looking for a more predominantly target-oriented area. So we want, you know, lay down trees, you know, shade lines, isolated hardwoods, things to throw at, right? These fish are kind of living in this area. Doesn't really matter time of year. They're kind of resident fish to this zone. So with that being said, they kind of wait for the food to kind of come to them. So they're more oriented towards structure. And that's what this area implements. And we're gonna break that down for you guys. The bait that we're gonna talk about really shines in and around tight cover and, you know, little shade pockets, like specific target oriented casts, right? And for those reasons, for this particular area, it's this lure right here, and that is the Megabass Giant Dog X. So there's a lot of different bait variations that you can go to for, you know, fishing this style area. And, you know, a walking bait is one that maybe people look over because it has treble hooks or whatnot. But it definitely draws out some of those more aggressive strikes and bites that, you know, are super enjoyable, and it might even get you a little bit more quality of fish. But not every walking bait can be used in and around, you know, and fish efficiently around this stuff. Of course, you can just fish this bait naturally down the bank. It's just gonna have its own way of walking and sitting. But for target oriented, you know, it's very nice because I can take this bait and put it in and around a target and be able to really control it and fish it slow and make small twitches and adjustments of my rod. And it'll almost act like a popper, you know, without that spitting action, and just kind of cut real finesse-y like And then when it stops, it almost like bobs in the water a little bit, and it gives those fish a lot of body to focus on when you don't have a lot of room to fish the bait and you're just kind of trying to coax them into biting. It delivers a better profile than walking baits that sit completely straight. So when fish hold close to structure, this bait particularly shines because it has a tungsten ball in its head that allows the bait to have that tighter, more natural, finessier, side-to-side action and be real buoyant and, fish better in tighter cover and tighter scenarios more efficiently. So also that tungsten ball gives the bait the ability to get a super nice rolling side-to-side action, and they get a real side view of that bait. Makes those fish commit to it and get a better view. So when I'm pitching in and around these little areas like this, I don't have a lot of room between me and the fish. So I'll add just a couple little motions and then let that bait sit tail down and just kind of, sit there and just kind of bob around. And then if I don't get a fish to commit, then I'll reel it in and make another cast. You don't have a lot of room. So imagine you're almost like pitching and flipping with a hard lure. But I'm making a lot of casts, but real short, specific casts. And I'm just trying to draw those fish from their haunts and, little shade pockets and things that they're hiding in. I like to let the fish tell me what they're doing. So if I'm fishing it real slow like that, where I just kind of pop it like a popper and I'm getting, some kind of side slaps, I'll get it back in there, same presentation that I was doing before, but I'll just start it real quick like that and then pause it. Just kind of get their attention, but then let that bait do what we explained, just kind of sit there and be real buoyant, and then maybe give it a couple more and then pick another spot. Let them come out and, get curious and see what that's all about. And I just try to make as many casts as possible and cover some water and get some cool eats. Fish right there! Oh, I saw him! And just like that, we're talking about it, fishing that Megabass Giant Dog X, in and around all the gnarly bushes and stuff. Man, that is so cool. Choking it. It's a fun way to fish. Explosive bites. All right, that was so sick on that Megabass walking bait. Dude, insane eat. In and around, close and personal, and the gnarly stuff. So gear is super important when fishing around cover like this because, there are big fish and you don't want to lose them if they get you around, this gnarly stuff. So fortunately for us, it's the same rod, P5, Megabass Madbull. It just does so much for us. Offshore, it's parabolic on those long casts, but when you're up here in and around cover, you've got that backbone, and that backbone is super important because if I get one that just completely inhales it and I'm getting him to the boat and he wants to dig me down, I can give him some force and give him the smoke a little bit and get his head up and get that fish in the boat. Line is kind of a touchy subject. A lot of people have their own personal preference on what they like. I like 40, 50 pound braid on the majority of my walking baits. Some people don't like that. I do. The only thing that I do from time to time is add a short monofilament leader. And all that is, if we're fishing clear water, I want just a little bit of a mirror. Also, I think it allows the bait to work a little bit more freely sometimes. And another key feature with that is if you're fishing in and around cover and you have a monofilament leader, it helps from the hooks getting stuck on your braid like that. In this particular situation, I'm just rocking my straight braid, but I will make that adjustment from time to time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed us breaking down 3 different topwaters all in one day. And we wanted to showcase that you can use the same bait. We started on the main lake, main body of this lake, and we worked our way back towards, the backs of creeks and that stuff, and we found populations of fish in every pretty much stage, or whether they're resident fish, but we still caught them on topwater, all the way out from 30 to 40 feet of water, all the way to like 2 feet of water. So just to recap, so we started off with the Teckel Kicknocker, And when we're more of that open water, kind of offshore, reefs, points, that kind of stuff. And then you saw us fishing more kind of straight run bank, but still had a lot of targets, kind of a multi-purpose lure. That was the Duo Pencil. You saw us catch a nice one on that. Again, they have a lot of different sizes, but we were using the 100 today. And last but not least, in those super tight quarters and, you know, kind of that gnarlier terrain that we were fishing, we went with the Megabass Giant Dog X. We were fishing it super finesse-like and just letting it kind of dangle there, and it was super buoyant. And you get that real side-to-side flashing rolling action that we didn't get in those other baits. Hopefully this three-prong approach helps you guys. I definitely enjoyed filming it. We'll catch you guys on the next one.